Okay, an estimated 11 people were shot in at least 7 separate incidents across Washington, D.C. during a violent 9-hour period on Friday night. 2 juveniles, females, were walking to the hospital and had gunshot injuries. A teenage male was shot and found conscious in the 2000 block of 50th Street in SC in Southeast. That's near me. A 5-year-old boy was shot in the face on Savannah Terrace, Southeast. So DC and all black cities in America are under stress. 11 people shot in 7 different instances. If it had been one, we could say, okay, that's just one area. This is systemic and it's a big problem.
How many
Neither
total?
the, huh?
How
What'd
many
you say?
were fatal? How many of the
One, I think
victims
one,
were fatal?
I think one person is still alive, um, um, but they think he's going to die. So they're already doing a homicide, and it was a male. When he was an adult male, one fatality. But it doesn't matter when you have 11 people shot over a weekend. To get shot is to cause trauma in your life and in the life of anybody who's close to you, and to cause a net of pain. And this is only one weekend, over 3 days in 7 different instances within a 7-hour period. So Trump is sending in policemen and supposedly National Guard into these cities saying that there's a crime problem. He's right. The Democrats are saying there's not a crime problem. They're wrong. Trump is not helping them. He's only sending this in for other reasons, maybe to get control of these cities because they're liberal cities. So what I'm saying is that the Republicans and the Democrats are, in a way, exploiting this violence that black people are putting amongst each other all over the city. And black people in America need to take note and realize nobody's going to help you. The Democrats aren't going to help you because they're denying that there's a problem. The Republicans aren't going to help you because they're only sending National Guard in there to protect the white people and to clean up the streets rather than to deal with the complex problems of crime. The complex problem of crime in black America is twofold. First fold is that there's a culture of hip hop, thuggishness, and anti-order, misogynation, hate of females. You can see it with the language, and gangsterism, and a drug economy that black neighborhoods in America and the black communities are not rising up to fight. All they do is vote and continue perpetuating it. The second problem is that America is a white supremacist country in which jobs and housing loans and everything have been taken out of the black neighborhoods and put into white suburbs, so that the American government, since the beginning of its foundation, even to after liberation through civil rights, is actively promoting inequality, so that the only way that blacks can make money now is through criminal economies. In black neighborhoods now, we don't have the support of the churches. We don't have our elders now are former gangster members. They call them OGs. There's no role models, but it's because in the US has had a system in which whites fled from the inner cities and moved to the suburbs. And the banking policies in America give favorable terms to white people and give low terms to black people and lower the value of their property, so that there's no way, and then also take away factories and industries and send them to China, and then send help to the suburbs where white people are, so that black people are on their own. So that's not the black people's fault. So what you have is they have no other sources of income. Then the US allows drugs to come into America and allows them to filter into the black neighborhoods so that they can make money off of black people selling drugs to themselves and also to white people. And then they have criminal laws which prosecute blacks harder than whites. So it's a twofold problem. The black culture in America has moved backwards and glorifies gangsterism. And then in America, which is a white supremacist country, they make sure that there's inequality so black people can turn to nothing but violence. So in this day and age in which the US is spending money to help Ukrainian kids who are suffering violence and to help them become secure and to help Israelis kill Palestinians with billions of dollars, nobody in America is trying to pass legislation, Democrats or Republicans, which cause the systemic problems in America, for especially in black neighborhoods. All we're asking for in black neighborhoods is billions of dollars pumped into our school systems, billions of dollars pumped into infrastructure, job training, trade training, and also I'm saying billions of dollars overall for all of this, and also policing, but not just policing, social work and other things like that. Neither the Democratic or the Republican Party wants to do that. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, both parties are responsible for increasing high cost of living in America and in the city areas. Under the Biden administration, and with the help of of COVID and the lockdown, has sort of exacerbated it. And the Republican solution to this problem. They don't see it as, oh, these poor people need to get back on their feet. They see it as, oh, these poor people are a nuisance. We need to sweep them away so
And
that
they're lazy, and they don't want to use the opportunities of being American.
yes. So both parties recognize that there's this problem. The Democrats, them, I don't know if they're saying that the place is safe. I think what they're saying is that crime rate is improving. I don't think that.
Okay, cool. Let me summarize it. They're downplaying they're downplaying the crime problem.
Yes,
they're downplaying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They're downplaying it by they're saying that it's getting better. That but we don't. I mean, I'm not physically there, but I can imagine from what I've heard that it's.
I'll get it for you. For example,
so getting better.
Chicago has 500 murders last year. Oh, it's getting better, but England has 300. It's getting better, but still. So what they're doing is they're not lying. It's getting better, but they're implying that it's not a serious problem that needs to be dealt with, and they're not addressing the issue in America, which is, so far as it's not a socialist country which doesn't pump money into infrastructure and help people, it's not. It's getting better, but it's so bad. It's like saying you have cancer and you're going to die in 3 days, but your life expectancy has been improved by 6 days, so it's getting better. So what? It's still a terminal case. Sorry, go Kunle. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was something rather confusing that I heard when I was watching the news this morning. They were talking about Mandani and the Democrats and all of that. And someone that, the Democrats, that Mandani is a socialist and the Democrat is not socialist. This was a politician that was saying this. And I need someone to explain that to me, because I thought that the Democrat Party was a party of the left that followed socialist policies. But apparently, according to, I can't remember the name of the Democrat politician that said this, that's not the case. So the Democrat Party is not a socialist party. That's what they said. That doesn't make any sense to me.
The Democratic Party is a party, a liberal party, which means you're free to have identity and things and protect racial identity and discrimination, but it doesn't deal with economic issues of which socialism deals with. Socialism says that you have to have a constitution which protects the rights of individuals economically so that everybody has a social safety net, and so that the money that you spend is not meant for military and things like that. The American peoples themselves should be shareholders in the wealth of the country, and not just CEOs and corporations. The Democratic Party passes bills and things which are friendly towards unregulated capitalism. The Democrats don't want to regulate capitalism. What they want to do is say you're free to call yourself a female if you're male, and also if you're black, you shouldn't be killed by policemen just because you're black. That's all they say. Sorry, go ahead, Kunle.
Also, the problem that they have, there's this thing about politics, that the two parties have to balance out they're in control. So what was that if you just had the party of the right that was about the rich people, because it's designed to favor the wealthy, but the wealthy are not they're not enough wealthy people to win an election. So they have to get a group on their side. So the group that they get on their side is the poor white people. Then they have to create a group on the other side in order to have a balance, so that both sides are being given the impression that they're living under a democracy. But actually, both sides, both Democrat and Republican parties, work very hard to create this illusion of choice and this belief that you're choosing good over evil, whether you support Democrats or you support Republican. And I think to overcome American politics, you have to look above that. You have to stop looking at the left and the right, and just say, I just want Americans. First of all, before I decide on whether I want to do anything at all, wipe the slate. And that's the problem. And because Americans are not able to do that, that's why you're able to see them get taken advantage of financially, and there's no proper backlash against it, whether it comes to cost of living or in this case,
because you know why? Because in America, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you believe that socialism is the same thing as communism and it's evil. So what you're saying is that it's evil to give people
misinformation.
It's evil to give people free healthcare. It's evil to give free colleges and spend on it. Europe is not like that. No matter what you are, Europe is capitalistic, but if you're a citizen, you get schooling, you get health care and everything. So they've made that evil, which is why in America, whether you're black or white or Democrat or Republican, your biggest enemy, the person you hate the most, is not the KKK, it's the Russians. That's why Americans sit down and are in favor of billions of our dollars going to, because Russia's coming to get us. So, and like you said, they've done divide and conquer. So my argument is this: the founding of America was Patrick Henry. No taxation without representation. This is what I call real socialism. All socialism says is that if I work and I pay taxes, it should be spent on things which benefit me and make my life easier and make the life of all Americans easier. Whether you're a socialist or not, when you look at what the Democrats or the Republicans are doing, they're not using our tax money to support us. So what they're doing is they're actually robbing us. We have to work, and then our tax money is used to bomb children in Palestine and to go to war with Russia, and now to give 40 billion or 20 billion to Argentina. All Americans need to see this, whether you're a socialist or not. You need to see this, and you should say either you use my tax money for police, for schools, and for safety, and for social work and everything, or don't use it at all, and let's be libertarians and let me just pay it and create it myself. The only thing I have to say, so we're going back to the Black communities. Black communities in America, you have to start coming together and lobbying for yourself and figure out how to use your resources to fix this problem, and also figure out how to use your resources to make your young men stable enough so that they don't have to feel that they need to become drug dealers to survive. And also, you need to change your culture in which it's great to own a gun and to call women bitches and to be a gangster, to the point where even educated Black women would rather date a gangster than someone like me who's a geek who reads novels and says Shakespeare. They say, oh, you read Shakespeare, you gay. Lady, thou doth protest too much. Go to thy thug and screw yourself to the wall.
The problem with that is that there's no the only thing that can work to reverse the fortunes of the Blacks and minorities in America is not a cultural revolution, but money. It's money for education.
Yeah, but Kool-Aid, it has to be cultural and Kool-Aid, it has to be cultural and spiritual first. It has to be cultural and spiritual first. This is why I say so, because you have to show. Well, you have to have grandmas and grandpas and Black fathers and stuff who love their family so much that they study what's going on around them and figure out what's best for them. Then they mobilize ourselves so that we can have the power to get our money back through strikes and everything. But if we keep on saying that Jay-Z is the leader of our culture and rappers and stuff, that's cultural. The Black culture is defunct in America right now because we focus on entertainment rather than on community. There's no spirit of community in Black neighborhoods anymore.
Culture is a big part of Black community. I mean, the most famous American in the world is a Black person, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but that's music.
That's why.
What I mean by culture, Kool-Aid, what I mean by culture.
I agree with you. I'm saying it's part of the problem to remove that sort of culture from the Black American people is to remove an identity which they feel they have worked for so long, and then to move to the culture of you need lawyers, doctors, engineers, and artisans. To move from the entertainment culture to the economic culture is very, 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 very difficult. I don't even see how it can be done without.
Here's what it starts off with. Here's what it starts off with. Here's what it starts off with. Here's what I mean by culture. Nigerians in America are the second largest earning group in all of America. It's because their culture is collective. Once Black people become collective, they can solve every problem. So long as we're not collective. Yeah. Once they decide we're going to become collective, that will involve political change. It'll involve family and neighborhood, because they live in Black people in America, for the most part, live in areas where there's no other white people, but they don't look out for each other. From block to block in America, in Black communities, oh, he's from that block over there, we have to kill him. He's from that block over there, we have to kill him. Jewish people in America don't do that. Iranian people don't do that. Jamaicans, Caribbeans, and Nigerians don't do that. So the first thing that needs to happen in America, which is what happened in China, because China is about money now, but the first thing the Chinese did was a collective cultural revolution. Then after they did the collective cultural revolution, all of the economics and policies and everything followed from that. You see what I'm saying, Kool-Aid? What are your thoughts?
So you're saying, I'd also say that Black Americans and Black South Africans have a lot more in common with each other than they think, more than typical Africans in terms of what they've suffered. I think Black Americans have it worse because South Africans still have their own culture and language and identity, something that was stolen from the Black American. And I think because that was stolen from them, I think that's another reason why they're trying to create an identity for themselves. And because they create an identity for them, at the same time, they're distracted by that. Whereas South Africa just needs to focus on investing. The Black South Africans just need to focus on investing the money, and they can easily create that culture of doctors, lawyers, engineers being the main stalwarts of the economy. For America, it's more difficult because the entrenchment of that oppressed culture of if you're not going to sell
And also,
drugs
Black
and if
Americans
you're
are
not a
outnumbered.
performing
They're outnumbered.
monkey, you
They're
either have to be
outnumbered.
and when I say a performing monkey, I mean you either have to be a sportsman or an actor or a singer,
Or,
you have
or,
to,
or a
or a
drug
drug
dealer, or
dealer.
a drug dealer,
Yeah.
or a
So
drug
those
dealer.
are the only avenues. Those are the only avenues for Black people. You know, if a Black person is rich and successful, he's wearing jeans and chains and bouncing. He's not dressed regally and showing purpose.
Kool-Aid, it wasn't like that in the 1960s. In the 1960s, we had Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, we had the Black Panthers. So we've done it before. So the root cause of this is that we've moved to thug culture, gangster violence, and the cocaine. Cocaine is what disrupted the Black American community.
Yeah. CIA. If not for the CIA and the drug epidemic of the 60s or of the 70s, 80s, I think that we would have progressed. Black Americans would have progressed from something better in the 60s to something even better now. What totally destroyed that was when the CIA came in with the drugs, because the drugs didn't just kill their ability to work. It created this thug life culture. This thug life culture, if you look at the 50s and 60s, people, Black Americans didn't have that culture. That culture came about because of the drug epidemic, because of it, and it's become attractive. Quick money, fast cars, pretty girls, and then you see what they call cool is a guy with jeans and chains bouncing around like a performing monkey. You know, they're not impressed by doctors or engineers. You know,
and actually, if you do that, they call you square. They call you odd and square.
Yeah, because there's no culture of it, or there's not sufficient culture of it. And to be honest, I wouldn't even know how they can go about getting that culture back.
I'll tell you how we get it back. We have to end now because we're about to do Formula One. But what the culture of it comes from people like me and people like, there's many of us, there's a lot of Black people in America who are philosophers and sociologists and know the problem. We have to start coming together to try our best to disseminate this knowledge. It's not easy. It's probably going to take 50 or 60 years, but we have to start from somewhere. All right, so let's move on.